All right, everybody, I'm going to show you how we handle intelligent document processing on faxes here. So on my screen, you'll see a couple of file folders. I'm going to pull up an example fax for us to take a look at. As you can see, this has an Advantage Technologies cover sheet on it. It actually has a bunch of pages. Next is a medical invoice with a whole bunch of line items on it. Page number 3 and 4 is part of our HIPAA privacy authorization. We have an example referral intake form and a handwritten prescription and a driver's license. So we have a whole bunch of files, a whole bunch of documents all in the same file that came in through fax. And I'm going to go ahead and pretend I'm a fax server and drop it into a network folder. This is going to kick off our intelligent document processing process where the file is going to get pulled in. And we're going to start looking at the categorization of this document. So while that's working, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the interface. Here you can see I have a couple of other files already in the system ready for us to review. The first thing we're going to do is look at what happens when a document or when a fax gets pulled in, broken apart, and categorized. So I'm going to open this up. You'll see this is the same document we're looking at, just in our intelligent document processing tool. On the left-hand side, you'll see it's broken apart, all those pages in the fax, into different document types. We have our cover sheet here, we have a medical invoice here, we have our privacy authorization, and so on, all the way down. You'll notice that our medical invoice is highlighted as red, whereas all the other ones are white. And this is because the system is not quite sure that this is a medical invoice. I have the confidence level threshold set at 99%, which we never actually achieve, so that we can always stop here and take a look at what it takes to fix a problem should one show up in the categorization step. So all you have to do is, as a user, hit the drop down and choose one of the different document types to assign it to this this file. Now, the system did actually pick medical invoice correctly, so there wasn't really an issue there, but it's a good way to show we could change this to a prescription or to a quote or something like that. And we'll just set it at medical invoice and move it on through. Take a look at the file. We're pretty sure about that. All I have to do is hit the review button, and it'll say this batch is completed. We've already split it into all these different documents, so we can go ahead and proceed. And that's just the way we would solve any issues that may come up in the process of categorizing a document. Now, here we're on to the validation stage. The system has gone through and split all those documents apart. Now it's trying to extract all the data from the actual pages that have been processed through. And you'll see the interface is the same. We still have all the documents down the left-hand side. So quite a few more of them are red with some issues that we have to look at. But let's start at the top. So our fax cover sheet, we're just pulling one piece of data. This is Jeff's name. We're pulling right off of the cover sheet of the fax. As I go down to anywhere I click validate, it's going to take me to the next item that I have to look at. Right now, it's not sure that Calvin Mayfield is actually the name. You can see that actually it is Calvin Mayfield, but it's paused here. I have it actually set to force validate on this field so that we could stop and take a look at how the validation stage looks. You can see we have pink fields. Those are items that need to be validated. We have white fields. Those are items that have passed our validation and are above our confidence level for extraction. We have blue fields here. You'll notice that MRN is a blue field here, and I can't actually even type into this field. It's a read-only field. And interestingly enough, this MRN number doesn't exist anywhere on this document. Actually, what we did is we've used the name Calvin Mayfield and looked up in a database what Calvin Mayfield's MRN was. In the real world, we might match 2 or 3 or 4 different pieces of data to be sure that we get the right MRN. But this is an example of using a database to populate the MRN so we can then attach this medical invoice to a patient record downstream. So this is automatically getting looked up behind the scenes from a database based on information on the screen. We can Also take a look. You see this is an invoice, so you have all of our different pieces of data. As I click on them, you see they get highlighted on the screen. So we have all these different pieces that we're pulling in. And then if we want to actually see the table data, I can go to the table view and you can see all of the table information stored now as transactional data here on the left-hand side. Now, immunization, just slightly lower than what we would want. Some of those letters are very much scrunched together on here. So we're at 89% out of 90, but I'm going to say immunization is correct. I can hit validate, go back out to our form view, validate Calvin Mayfield, and then you'll notice that the medical invoice has now been validated. We're on to the HIPAA privacy authorization. Again, same idea. We pulled all the information off of here, off of the document. We have a period start date that's not getting highlighted. One of the things I can do is just click on that piece of data on the screen, and it'll automatically load that into the field, so we're ready to move forward. I can validate that document and so on all the way down. Here's an example of a pretty complicated form, lots of fields on the screen and lots of information being extracted. Let's be perfect. This is an intake. This is perfect for new patient intake, or if we get a referral or something like that, we can check and make sure all the information is correct. As you can see, provider is Advantage MD. There we go. Provider Advantage MD is the right thing. So I can hit validate and accept that value. And again, we can even handle checkboxes. Just wanted to pause so we can take a look at that. Yep. And we'll move on down. Now I can continue going through this whole document and show you what happens here. We got a handwritten prescription. Does a pretty good job of handwriting recognition. We're actually using Google Vision as the OCR engine for this. The way we usually look at it is if you can read it or I can read it, then the system's going to be able to read it. So it just wanted to check here. It's a little low on this because these letters are overlapping each other. You know, we have a little bit of cursive going on there, but we'll go ahead and push this through. And then let's talk about signatures, right? So it's not actually even reading the signature here. It's actually counting the number of pixels that are filled in this space. And since there's a lot of white space, it's not really sure that there's a signature there. But we can definitely see it is signed. We do have a good signature there, so we can validate that and move it through. I'm going to go ahead and validate all these documents as we come down, and we'll stop right here at the driver's license. Faxes are very difficult. You can have a lot of speckles and a lot of dark marks on top of the page. So this is a good example of what happens when there's a speckling on the picture. The system did a pretty good job of pulling this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's my driver's license number. I don't know about you, but it did a good job pulling all that information in. We just didn't get the expiration date. I can go ahead and click on this, and you see that it's not really sure about that one. It's right up against this overlay, part of the New York State driver's license. So we can just supplement that, put a 1 in there, and validate and move this through. And with that, I've just validated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 documents and push them through our system. And what happens next? I'm going to pop back out to our instance management here. It's now actually finishing off that document and exporting it to a file. And what kind of file would that be? Let's jump out here and take a look. Go to our output. We have all the different documents sent to their own folders. These are all driver's licenses here. So we can look at these. These are all copies of the same one as it went through. We have our, HIPAA authorization form, for example, or medical invoices. I'm going to go into the batch XML because this is where the magic lies. This is the data that is getting extracted that can be used downstream for any sort of automations that we need. So I'm going to pull it open in a browser so we can take a look at it. And here we are. We have all of the information that was extracted from that multi-document, multi-page fax that came into the system. We have the original name. There's the name of our file that came in. There's my username for who reviewed the document, who validated the document. We have what type of document. So here's our first document. It's the cover sheet. We have the extracted data, which was the from name. If you remember, that was Jeff's name that we pulled right off of the cover sheet. We even know where it was on the page and all the different items that we may need. And if I go down and let you look here, that's document 1. Our second one is our medical invoice. Third one is our HIPAA auth field form. We have our referral intake form with all of its different pieces of data on there extracted, including the confidence level we have on that extraction. We have all the different pieces of data we might need that we can then send these files downstream, maybe through some piece of middleware into an EMR system or into an enterprise content management system for use later by team members. All right. So there you have it. We have a fax that has been delivered into our intelligent document processing data. It's been separated into its separate files and categorized, and then each document has then had different pieces of information extracted from it and delivered to a network folder for processing by another piece of software downstream.